It's March 23rd, 2023, a Thursday, 11:52 a.m. My name is Kessie Ian Anderson, and here's another edition of Heresiarch. I'm going to discuss the threat of globalization and why I personally feel it is the biggest threat. I could go down a million rabbit holes, but I think the big one is the monopoly. It's the idea of the monopoly. So there's two major companies, BlackRock and Vanguard. If you get a moment, research those for a minute. A gentleman named Larry Fink is the head of CEO of BlackRock. Just the name BlackRock has so many religious implications. Black cube, black rock, black stone. It is the black checkerboard on the Masonic board, period. The end. A lot of shills online will talk about Freemasons. Freemasons are little foot soldiers. They're not the power. The dudes controlling these guys are the power. And the religion behind Larry Fink is the controllers. They're the ones that have a face to the cabal at the moment. Some people say it's bigger than that. Well, we cannot deal with the metaphysics behind it. We have no way of dealing with that. It's the egregores that come in that we end up fighting. And you can't fight ideas at the moment. We're not equipped for it. Hopefully that's beginning to change. I am going to go through Rumble's terms and conditions because I don't trust Rumble either, but an interesting narrative is starting to change. If you're not familiar, there's a gentleman named Steven Crowder. I'm not going to go into a ton of his stuff, but he was the most 5 million plus subscribers on YouTube. He has a huge following. I guarantee stuff's in his closet that's going to come out to take him down morally, which I think is just nonsense. I don't care about that stuff, the social moralizing. It's nice if actions can back up words, but in this game, we don't have any options. Everybody's compromised. However, Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire. It came out that Steven Crowder pushed back on his contract and all the patriots, P-A-Y-triots, attacked him because to them it's all about money. I don't buy many people take the threats seriously when all they're worried about is their bottom line. I get you have to have money. I get we got to play this stupid fiat Fed currency bullshit. I get it. But people need to get serious. Steven Crowder is being a disruptor in theory. He is moving to Rumble, and his numbers are very big. He has over 2 million views on one of his last live streams on Rumble. On YouTube, it's 100 plus thousand. But I know YouTube manipulates its numbers. If you are bigger than you are, yet conservative, they censor you, tear you down, and screw you fiscally. Because they do not want to give you a voice. They do not want to give you a platform. Anything that goes off the reservation of oneness, and that is what it comes down to. Adam Kadmon and oneness. Whatever reason, this Adam Kadmon entity, it's not Adam as in Adam and Eve. It is Adam Kadmon is a pre-entity, primordial man, this thing that went from, and what's interesting is Judaism is flat earth. So it goes from the ground up to the firmament and from east to west. This thing covers all expanse, this primordial man. But they say it's also female and male. Androgynos. It's an androgynous thing. So for some reason they have it in their head that we have to become like that somehow, some way. A oneness, this weird entity thing. And that comes from the teachings of Moses Maimonides, who was the Rambam, who gave their 13 quasi-articles of faith. I'm calling them that. They don't call them that. But he has these 13 edicts, and one of those is God has no body, no form, nothing. He's this all-encompassing perfection that is unknowable, unwhatever. It's almost like Nicene Creed injected into Catholicism with Athanasian Creed and the Nicene Creed in 360 or 316, one of the two. I have my dates mixed up. And that's why Steven Crowder's move to Rumble is so important. It is a thorn in the side of globalization. Now, my big worry is that Rumble is just a controlled entity as well, and that it is just a matter of time before they corral everybody onto one platform and then pull the rug And then everybody's stuck going back and playing the cabal ball of YouTube. Look up the family of Susan Wojcicki, her sister 23andMe, her ex-husband Sergey Brin of Google, her father CERN. It's unbelievable. It's impossible. It's almost beyond belief that this family can be so connected. This is like a Ghislaine Maxwell affair, with her sisters working for FBI and CIA and creating the databases and more for immigration. So they basically control who moves and who doesn't and can run cover for all the human trafficking operations. It's insane how connected these people are and what positions of power and authority they're given and how behind the scenes they are. How can we talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, but yet her sisters, nobody focuses on any of this. Nobody does any of this. The Dr. Charles Liebers of Harvard who create all the vax stuff. Nobody talks about this. Because we're just running. We're cats in a laser beam being pointed left and right and left. But give them money, guys. And that is when we can fight and have a war of the egregores. The egregoric war is what I would call it, where we finally have an arena to compete in. Because truth ideas, and that's why the left and liberalism, not classical liberalism, not the actual freedom liberalism, but this current outrage, nonsense, racist BS style of liberalism that cannot compete in the actual arena of ideas. So many people who are human and have souls understand logic and are able to point out hypocrisy that without being artificially propaganded and propagated and propped up, they cannot compete in the arena of ideas. So if we have a competing platform, the war, the egregoric war will start and we can take on ideas. But they know that. Just like Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, First Amendment, and these war of platforms, that is the mind war. That's the PSYOP. That's the information war. So if enough voices are unfettered, oh, Elon Musk, he took care of Twitter. Pfft, I'm still banned. Elon Musk is doing nothing. He is a puppet. He is not on Team Freedom at all. He is World Economic Forum. He claims he's not. He is literally owner and part owner of the delivery mechanism systems for the mRNA injections. He is just as part of the cabal, but it's just all puppetry for us to keep buying in that something's going to change with these people. A parallel economy is what has to be done to take out globalism. That's why I'm on Team Russia and Team China at the moment, because this government literally hates me for my existence. They have proven it time and again. They do shit for us. They'll do everything for Ukraine and every stupid quasi-nonsense, but they will do nothing for us. They do not care about us. Try to get a government grant being what conservatives would consider normal as a human. Just try it. You have to jump through hoops that you'll be shocked about. And that's one of the things I did when I was in the Philippines. Our call center sold government grant programs. Were they scams? Absolutely. Nobody was going to follow through the steps to do those. And if you did, you were never going to get approved. Anyway, so now Don Jr. So I see Don Jr. on Telegram, his Triggered, or whatever it's called. He doesn't care. They are not serious about this. To them, it's just business. It's just a game. It's just fun. They don't take this shit as actual life and death serious. Like, this is a serious game. Our lives are serious. People just say, oh, it's just politics. No, I'm sorry. Politics is the biggest weapon used on us. Some idiot can go in and just by checking a box means I have to pay how much money for God knows what and where God knows the money goes. And who's controlling these people? Who's getting shoved in front of us? Who are all these puppets? The election's rigged. It's such a joke. But I'm not going to go down that. I'm going to push back on the globalization idea. Because when you own a monopoly, when you're the only option, the power that you control is a big deal. Globalization removes, everybody thinks right now, oh, all of the LGBTQ, RSTU, VWXYZ preparation H through G, they think they are individuals. It's all a facade. It is all a lie. I'm not saying they're not unique individuals. I'm saying that the banner that they're under is a Trojan horse. There is no unique thought amongst the Ukraine crowd or the injection crowd or the whatever the Mossad Judeo-corporate media shoves at them crowd. There's no unique thought. There's no individualism. Everything is being collated. Everything is public relations. Everything is just do and virtue signal. Now, when you hear the term virtue signal, what does that mean? It just means you're worried about what the neighbors think, and you want to prove to them that you're a good person, so you're going to toe the line that you think is acceptable to them. You aren't true to who you are. You're not true to your own opinions and views. You don't have the guts to voice them, so you play to the crowd. You be safe. But you can't please everybody. The only person I would argue you should try to please is yourself and your own conscience, if you have one, if you are actually human. But moralizing, all this nonsense. What's funny is in Florida, I read an article that the powers that be, Mossad, and Big Tech, which is Mossad, Grindr is threatening the Republicans to release the data on the people who are using it, that are in politics, that are Republicans. That is the control. Tinder is a honeypot. A honeypot is the concept that whether it's a date, whether it's a scenario, whether it's a situation that you are in, that going to that or taking part in it will mean that you are compromised. So my quest for individuality is just to be able to be nuanced. Just because I am against something, they try to get us in such black and white thinking, does not mean I am automatically for its opposite. So I can be against a certain politician, and that does not mean I am a fan of the opposite. But that's how they try to pin you, and that's how non-thinkers think. Well, if you're not for this, then that means you're for that. No, I'm just against that. And I can lay out the case as to why I angle a certain degree. So in my political rantings and my views, I have a set standard. Any politician that happens to fall into a portion of that standard, I'm definitely going to lean more towards. But it's not because I care about that person. I just have a set of values and ideals that anybody who falls into that. I mean, Ilhan Omar said some stuff that I'm like, yeah, she's actually right. And then all the Daily Wire clowns attacked her. And then all of the bootlicking Shabbos Goyim jumped on their team to attack her, whereas what she said was absolutely correct. Now, the threat of globalization, it is the gobbling up of all industries, all business. There's another gentleman I listen to. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he is a repairman. He started his business in New York and New Jersey. He would go into public places, gardens, and he would do repairs. He just did a video yesterday on the right to repair and how you cannot even get access to the electronics and materials needed to do the repair. And so he said that the lower rungs of his industry are gone. You cannot even approach to jump into his business the way he did anymore. And he feels bad about it because he tries to be a do-it-yourself type. And he wants people to raise themselves up. You're sick of your job? Get into repair work. This is how much you can make doing this. This is how much you can make doing that. But he says the lower rungs are all gone. He says that he has grown his business and was able to navigate in such a way that he's fine. He will be able to handle whatever comes his way. So he's not as concerned, but it breaks his heart because he's an empathetic individual for the little guy that they can't follow in his footsteps because he was a little guy and he understands it. So as something as almost, it seems inconsequential to be able to repair your own tech, to be able to repair your own stuff, change a screen on your phone, change out chips. He goes, you cannot even get it. That's how much they've taken over the industries and locked everybody out who isn't part of their corporate nonsense. And I'm going to tangent for a bit because this leads me into what my opinion is on what defines a great human being. What defines a great person? A great person in my world has mastered something, has figured it out, has come up with a system and a method that if shared, anybody can duplicate and get the same results. And not only are they willing to do that, they are willing to give everything that they are away to assist in that effort. That to me is a sign of a great individual. Not like a coder who has figured out a method of coding and is so small-minded, such a little Reddit tool bag that they won't share with other people. That to me is a small mind. The people that are bullied, and then you feel bad for them, but then when you find out their personality, they actually deserved every bit of bullying that they got because they never learned any lessons. They're just victims. The victim mindset goes nowhere with me. And those small minds are the ones why we are in this position that we are. They're the ones that are paid off and bought off and purchased by means of our own making. So I wish we had a Soros on our team that would actually fund the right without strings attached, without playing cabal ball. I wish we had somebody. They don't exist. We have nobody on the right that is willing to fund actual decent human beings into positions of power. So this guy, this repairman, he laid it out. He lays it out. If anybody wants to copy and duplicate what he does, that to me is a great individual, giving of everything they have because they don't feel threatened by it. They're like, there's abundance for everybody. And there is. That's the big myth. Scarcity is a lie. Scarcity is a victim mindset. You want it, take it. It's yours. It's all a scam. It's all a facade. And yet people hide and crowd under banners, whether it's religion, whether it's their corporation. There's a Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show episode with Elmer Fudd, and a truck crashes and all these hats fly out of the truck. And anytime a certain style of hat lands on Elmer Fudd, he automatically takes on that persona. So take me, for example. I've done a lot of things. I did telecommunications consulting. I was over in the Philippines. I helped develop some software that the Filipinos wouldn't even speak. They would run a soundboard, a sophisticated keyboard algorithm that I helped create, that they would talk using my voice to the customer. The customer had no idea. I worked that job. I have written a book. I sketch pictures. I've made money doing portraits. There's a lot of random little things that I've accumulated over the years that I'd like to do. However, because I wrote a book, that does not mean I consider myself an author. That's not my identity. Because I draw pictures doesn't mean I'm an artist. I don't accept that that's my identity. That's just a talent. That's just a skill that I've cultivated and I try to do because I like doing it. I like doing this. I have no intentions of ever making money off of what I talk about because it's the most obscure nonsense that nobody cares about. Very few people are even knowledgeable or can even come across this concept because I'm discussing the taboo topics. But the point is, so Elmer Fudd gets all these hats on his head and he becomes those entities. So I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a cop. That becomes their persona. It's who they are. Like flight attendants. I've also worked flights as a flight attendant in the airline industry. Did that for 8 years. It was great. You want to check out of life and just go on cruise control, become a flight attendant. So my opinion on that is we have to stop and destroy the ideals and ideas and egregores that control us. You are not a cop. You are not a doctor. You are not a lawyer. You are a human who engages in that stuff. You are an entity, a person, whether you want to call it a child of God or not. You are somebody who has that as a facet of your personality. It is not your entire being. And if it is, you've given it power over you. Whatever controls you. Don't give away your power. And I guess that's what I'm saying is we're giving away all of our power in so many things. Just be an entity, an agent, somebody, a generalized person or even a specialized person. But that doesn't mean that has to be you, because then if something happens and you lose that job, you lose that ability, something happens, you're a neurosurgeon and Doctor Strange, your hands don't work anymore. What are you going to do if that's your entirety? That's just my opinion, but I think it has a shred of merit. Some people, that is their defining moment. It's who they are. Pilots especially. I'm a pilot. Well, what am I? I don't accept any of the banners. Just because I do something doesn't mean I am that thing. I want to believe I'm an agent unto myself. I want to believe I try to use my mind to gauge scenarios, to think through things. Now, I have my own personal likes, I have my own personal dislikes, I have my own nuances. I have some things that if people understood what I thought, they would either love me or hate me. But I don't care. I care about being as true to my opinions as possible. What I have values about, what I think about, what I want, my likes, my dislikes. I'm very, very easy to please. I do not need a lot of maintenance. I can live very Spartan, very simply. And that's kind of the idea behind a lot of guys. Men in general are capable of living in an apartment with a TV and a chair or a computer or whatever. Some people don't even need that. Go up in the woods and hermit out and disappear. I would be very, very good at that. But I just realize, for whatever reason, maybe it's my programming, the way I was raised, the weapon used for you will be used against you, and I have a loud mouth. I need to tone it down in a lot of ways. That's why it's nice that I can collate it and put it on here. That way, if somebody stumbles across my stuff, it's not me forcing my opinion onto people. And that's my problem, is I'm really good at monopolizing conversations. And so my biggest focus for the last 5-6 years has been to try and listen more. Just get other people's viewpoints. And what's nice is, I would argue I have a pretty decent ability when somebody is talking to me that I can gauge where they're at in certain areas. And then I can find ways of interjecting my nonsense to them without it coming across as forced. Sometimes I do force it, but I make sure the person's open to the ideas. So in a way, I am proselytizing my own nonsense, but there's no agenda behind it. I just want people to get thinking. And so back to globalization, shutting down platforms, censorship. Now I'm going to play a clip from Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's the leader of Likud, the Likud party. They're Chabad Lubavitch running Israel. He's in the Chabad mafia. And that dude has been in power for a ridiculously long time. I remember back in the day when I first heard him speak, I was blown away at how good his command of the English language was. Then I found out he went to school here. He's literally Mossad, 8200. And he modeled a lot of Israel's information, IT, intelligence communities on CIA stuff. Even though, well, Mossad is CIA, so I'm sure Mossad has all their social experiments running in everywhere part of the world. The internet is just one giant game theory social experiment. They collate it, they capture the data. Every phone call that we make goes through Israeli servers back to the US. It's insane how much we are overcome digitally by these guys, but they know the game. They know where the power is. So Benjamin Netanyahu, addressing his constituency, he lays out how Israel has changed in the last 20 years.
News doesn't stop merely with Israel's strong military. It continues with Israel's strong economy. It's a tremendously strong economy. And I'll tell you, we made it stronger by moving Israel to free market principles, which unleashed the spark of genius embedded in our people into innovation, entrepreneurship. And there's a revolution taking place. This couldn't happen at the better time. Look at the 10 leading companies in 2006. 5 energy companies, one IT company, Microsoft. And a mere 10 years later, 2016, a blink of an eye in historical terms, it's completely reversed. 5 IT companies, 1 energy company left. The true wealth is in innovation. You know these companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook. Guess what? They all have research centers in Israel. All of them. Major research centers. And they're not alone. There are hundreds more. And there's a reason. Something is going on. It's a great change. It's, you want to hear jargon? It's one sentence. This is a terrible sentence, but I have no other way to say it. It's the confluence of big data, connectivity, and artificial intelligence. Okay? Did you get that? You know what that does? It revolutionizes old industries, and it creates entirely new industries. Now here's how the dots connect. Because we have this tremendous capacity for security and intelligence, and because we have this tremendous capacity for civilian technology, for making the lives of people richer, safer, more productive, many countries are coming to Israel because they want to share with us these benefits. And that creates the third great change, which is a flourishing of Israel's diplomatic relations around the world. You know, when I joined the Foreign Service 105 years ago, as the DCM to this city, Washington, the number 2 in our embassy, I think we had about 80 or 90 countries with whom we had diplomatic relations. Now the number is 160, and there are very few countries left. By the way, what are we doing with Greenland? We got to do something with Greenland. Where's my advanced team? Go to Greenland. They must have some satellite needs or something that we could do there. But we're coloring the world blue. I've been to Africa 3 times in 18 months. I've been to South America, Latin America. Can you imagine? In the 70 years of history of Israel, a prime minister of Israel never went south of Texas? I mean, I love Texas, but yeah, I do. But we went to Argentina. We went to Argentina, to Colombia, to Mexico, and they say, come back, we want more. That is changing. All these countries are coming to us. India, China, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, all of them. Azerbaijan, Muslim countries. First time I visited Australia, tremendous. Far away though. So we're coloring the world blue. And you know what? The numbers, you remember people talked about Israel's isolation? Remember that? Israel's isolation? Pretty soon, the countries that don't have relations with us, they're going to be isolated. There are those who talk about boycotting Israel. We'll boycott
And he says they
them.
are now punching 200 times above their weight. What they have done is they have gotten major research centers, R&D, research and development centers from all of big tech, and have wrangled them into Israel. And then what he says about what is going to happen for countries that no longer play their game. So there's a term BDS, and it is to boycott Israel. Well, what he says about those that are trying to push the boycott, his goal is to suck up all power and have enough under him that when he pulls the rug out, it will only be those that play. Only those that have taken the injection. Only those that have the social credit score. Only those that have the mark. Only those that do the CBDC. Only those that do the ESG, which is Larry Fink BlackRock, which is their social credit scores for corporations under the banner of Tikkun Olam. So in Judaism, Tikkun means to rectify. It's not quite repent. Repentance is teshuvah. So rectify, and then Olam is world. So Tikkun Olam, rectify the world. It's another term for social justice. And then if you understand from my last videos, who is the Amalek? Who are the children, the progeny of Amalek? Who are the Erev Rav? And I'm not talking when they consider one of their fellow rabbis a traitor. I'm talking about the souls that inhabit Amalek, the Ruchin, Shidin, and Lilin. So globalism is the biggest threat. So for some reason they have it in their head that we have to become like that somehow, some way, a oneness, this weird entity thing. And that comes from the teachings of Moses Maimonides, who was the Rambam, who gave their 13 quasi-articles of faith. I'm calling them that. They don't call them that. But he has these 13 edicts, and one of those is God has no body, no form, nothing. He's this all-encompassing perfection that is unknowable, unwhatever. It's almost like Nicene Creed injected into Catholicism with Athanasian Creed and the Nicene Creed in 360 or 316, one of the two. I have my dates mixed up. But that is the height of globalism, is for everything to become one. And we're talking breed oneness. You have to mix all races together. Now, if it happens organically, I don't care. If we had immigration laws that were actually worth it, that made sense, and we actually followed them, I'm totally fine with it. But I'm sick and tired of these bastards telling us, abort your kids, abort your kids, abort your kids, overpopulation, overpopulation, overpopulation. And then, oh shit, we got to bring in refugees because we don't have enough people to work as slaves. So the goal is to breed out certain groups to make this oneness. Another is to have everybody under a single monetary unit. Now, why do you think Russia and China are such a threat? Russia kicked out the Rothschilds. Russia and China are using a BRIC system. I have all the respect in the world to try to introduce a new monetary system because our Fed is nonsense. The dollar is retarded. It would have been better, but their debt slavery, the debt system, it's not even fractional banking. They don't even have to have, as of March 15th of 2019, I believe, or 2020, or even 2022. If I find it, I'll put it up there. But they passed fiscal laws that they do not have to have any money to insure banking deposits. None. Zero. It is not just fake. They've owned that it is 100% fake. And so now that the people who are running the system, who own us and hate everything about us, physically, goyim, spiritually, erev rav, they hate everything about us. And they claim they're our greatest ally. Now they're trying to gobble up, and they've done a damn good job of it. Blackmail, extortion, money, fiat currency, the money system, all these invisible animal stalls for the animal farm to be caught up in. We're getting ready to do a massive rug pull. We are now dependent on these people. I would define their entire institutions, everything they are about, as the literal arm of flesh. Do not rely on the arm of flesh, because not only that arm, it is pulled back in a fist, and it is going to punch us directly in the face. And that's why I try to push the independence, try to exist without their system. And soon it's going to be the point where you're going to have to exist outside of their system. They hate everything about you. The slave class, they want dead. And we are, as Amalek, are that slave class to them. And then we have a bunch of patriot grifters that just think everything's fine. Let's just make deals with them. Let's just work out business. It's just business, guys. Nobody takes it as serious as needs to be taken because it's not going to hit. It's always going to be 2 more weeks. Or patriots, white hats are going to save us. There's no sense of urgency in the woke patriot truther crowd. It is all just take it, deal with it, hopium. The white hats are coming, guys, white hats. So this latest thing about Trump being arrested, it's not happening. It wasn't going to happen. And then people are saying that, oh, it could have been Trump who urged the Republicans to push that out there that he was going to. And then people have donated, if I can trust the reports, it might be all Mossad lies, and all of it just might be gaslighting and Hegelian dialectic. 1.5 million has been donated to him since the announcement of the arrest. It's all fundraising. They are using these real life false flag scenarios to fundraise. And then I'm supposed to vote? Come on. Anybody who tells me to vote this time, go to hell in advance. Straight to hell. Until I am given actual 100% provable information that the voting machines are no longer in use, the algorithms are no longer in use, that I will use a pencil and paper and it will not be scanned, it will not go into anything other than somebody counting it, and then there is accountability. I do not vote ever again, ever, ever, ever. It's just blatant disrespectful. But they know we are suckers for it. So, Trump, it was rigged, rigged. Case is thrown out. Rule of law died November 4th of 2020. I mean, again, it's died a century ago, 1871. Technically, if what I read is correct, 1775, even before the Constitution was signed, George Washington sold us out. Prince William of Orange. That's who George Washington was. He was a prince by birth and lineage. Trump everybody, the Kraken, all these different people came out. Oh, it was Mike Pence's fault. It was this fault, that, the other. I'm not saying anything because we don't have inner workings of this theatrical play being given to us. However, for him to now want me to vote when nothing's been addressed, not enough laws have been passed, rule of law's dead. They control the courts. They, Mossad, FBI, FBI, cops, Mossad, check with your local sheriff. See how many times the police in your area have gone to Israel or had somebody from Israel come and train them on police tactics. You'd be shocked. You will be shocked. They're all a fraternal order. They're all on the same team. They're all Zog bots. Zionist-occupied government. And then Trump hits out at DeSantis yesterday. And I'm not a DeSantis fan. I won't touch that dude. He's worse than Trump, in my opinion. He's Rhino, CEO, controlled, blackmailed Broward County, whatever dirt they have on this guy. And then Trump says, he wasn't even real anti-vax. And I'm like, holy crap. That's some hubris right there, father of Operation Warp Speed. Now, people have come out and tried to defend and shill and say, no, he did this, he did that. We would have been 6 years in lockdown. It's all unprovable. You can't make that statement. You have no proof that we were going to be locked down for however long we were if he did not take the actions he did. Oh, but now we're awake to the threat. Yeah, as mRNA is put in every damn thing in the planet. It's put in food. It's being injected into animals. These sick demons, in their quest for longevity, are injecting this into everything, using us as the population, as the guinea pigs. And it was all under Big Pharma, Pharmakia, Zionist Trump. So I am highly frustrated with this guy. But it's going to be the way that we live forever. It's going to be, I've read everything. That was the goal. The goal was to get us DARPA nanotech. So anyway, globalization. I've digressed a ton. But globalization is where we are. I don't see us surviving this. We're going to have to figure out a way to, and I suggest whatever money you can scrape while this system still exists. Oh, I'll just invest in Bitcoin. Anyway, when you choose to finally take things serious, put your money into as many assets, physical items, tools, land, whatever you're capable of putting it into to make yourself independent so when the rug is pulled. And maybe I'm totally up in the night. Maybe there will never be a rug pull. Maybe all is well in Zion. Maybe we just follow our prophets that tell us to get the injections. Maybe we just follow the crowd, follow the media, follow the outrage machine that tells me to be upset that Trump's about to get arrested, so donate money, patriots. The PAY in patriot. I mean, we're just being grifted. We're just being conned. Anyway, I'll stop there. Until next time.